Is Ironheart a needed win for Marvel, or is it another example that their glory days are behind them? Welcome back to another Movie Night series review. Today we're going to be talking about Ironheart, and this review is so late, and I apologize for that. I know the show came out what feels like forever ago, but since it came out so long ago, I'm going to do a full spoiler review. So if you have not seen Ironheart and you don't want it to get spoiled, please go watch it and then come back so we can dive into all the spoilery details with you. I watched the show as it aired. They did 3 episodes and then 3 more. And it's just one of those things where it kept getting behind in the schedule and I just wasn't able to do a review of it. And then I finally had some time today as of recording, and I was like, we're doing the Ironheart review. We're going to do it now. So here it is. There's a lot of things that I think the show does very well, but there are also a lot of things I think the show does quite poorly. And overall, it kind of left me feeling just kind of about the whole thing, which is a bit of a disappointment because I really like the Riri Williams character, and I'll use that to kind of go into some positives. Dominique Thorne does a really great job playing Riri Williams. She did great in Wakanda Forever. She does great here as well. I think the challenges they put the character through emotionally are quite interesting. I do think, however, that they kind of just pigeonhole the character a little bit into her abilities to where the magic stuff comes into it later, which I'll get into in a bit, but overall, Dominique Thorne does a very good job playing the character. I also really liked some of the other actors in the show. I thought Anthony Ramos did a really great job as the Hood. I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a really great job as Jed Stain, the son of Obadiah Stane, which was a very interesting reveal that happened about halfway through the show. I really liked that dynamic and his dynamic with Dominique Thorne as the show played out. I thought they had great chemistry together, and every time it would cut to them together, I was a lot more interested. The heist crew that's with the Hood, I didn't love. I liked that they were all like in a very eclectic group of people. There was even an actor from Talk to Me that I liked seeing again, but it just didn't quite work in terms of chemistry. I didn't feel that they were a team. I didn't feel like, even when there was supposed to be tension in the group, I didn't feel that the tension felt real. It just felt very fake and forced, and I thought that the group could have done a lot better. And basically, the biggest problem that the show suffers is the old Marvel Disney Plus TV show problem from a few years ago, because the show was shot, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and it's been sitting on a shelf for a while. And that is, this should either have been condensed into a movie or expanded into a much larger show, not 6 episodes. There's nothing wrong with doing a show that's 6 episodes if the story warrants 6 episodes. Like, I think both seasons of Loki, for example, perfectly warrant 6 episodes each, and it's a very well-told story within that time constraint of the 12 total episodes for both seasons. You could feel the cracks in the story of trying to condense certain things while expanding on other things, but not having enough time to do either in this show. I will say, when I saw the trailer and I heard that they were going to be combining the tech and the magic, I was not about it. I was not on board. But as the show played out, I got very intrigued by the idea, and I thought the show did a decent job of showing those worlds together, being, obviously the world of the MCU, something we're used to seeing, but the show did a good job justifying that this should have been the story they told. Great. It just didn't feel like it went that much more beyond that. And yeah, you got some cool scenes with it, but I feel like it left a lot on the table. I loved the magic users that they went to go visit. The character's name is leaving me right now, but I know they're from comics, and I thought that actor also did a really great job from the little store with the magic users, and I thought that sequence was great, and it reminded me of Agatha a little bit, a show that I was really pleasantly surprised by. So again, the idea kind of won me over, but it didn't quite go beyond the surface levelness of it. Another story point that didn't quite work for me was the idea of Riri's best friend becoming the AI assistant. And it's only because it was very human. It was almost as if the character was really there. And I understand that that's the whole point of it, and, the whole thing of Riri's consciousness and everything, but it almost would have been more interesting to me if it was like a standard AI, that emotionless thing, and then you're able to have Riri want that emotion to come out, but he's not really getting it, because I thought that where they took that character and how they used it didn't quite work for me. However, I will say, where that character ends up at the end of the show, which I'll get into now, I thought was worth what I didn't like coming before it, with where we're at now, being that the character has now been seemingly revived from the dead, a la Mephisto, who is finally confirmed in the show, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, who plays the character wonderfully. It was an amazing casting choice. And obviously, finally seeing Mephisto in the MCU is really cool. And I thought that his dynamic with Riri Williams and Anthony Ramos and just his presence when he's there was incredibly well done. And I think that hopefully we could see Mephisto more, possibly not, but I really liked his presence and I really liked how the show ended. And it kind of leaves very interesting questions for Riri Williams if we ever see her again, which I hope we do. Now, again, that story is very cool with Mephisto, but it was almost too little too late at that point. I think the third episode was also really good, where Anthony Ramos' friend or his cousin, it's leaving me right now, the connection, but dies at the hands of Riri Williams, and he gets very furious and almost yelling at Mephisto, who's not physically there, but just kind of asking what he wants, what's to do next, and that built nice tension through the second half of the show for sure. It's just unfortunate that Marvel kind of set out the show to die after they let it sit on a shelf for a while. And yeah, there are a lot of issues with it. But again, I think there was also a lot good there as well. I loved pretty much all the performances of the lead actors. I thought Mephisto was a good addition. Dominique Thorne's great as Riri Williams. I wish we got more of her with a less convoluted story. And, something that I do like is unlike the typical kind of journey that a lot of the characters in the MCU go on, Riri Williams does have to turn to crime to kind of get what she needs to be able to make her suits after getting kicked out of MIT. I thought that was a very interesting path to go down. Again, just the execution of said path wasn't quite there for me. Now, if they do a season 2 or another movie where Riri pops up, I'm all for it. I would love to see it. I really like the character. I think there's more potential with the character. I just don't think the show was quite as good as honestly it needed to be and quite as good as Marvel hoped it would be when they shot it several years ago. But we're getting to a point where they're back to, quality over quantity, and hopefully that can lead to more meaningful appearances from Riri Williams. I also hope we get to see Alden Ehrenreich again. I think it would be very cool to see pretty much all of them again, despite certain fates of everyone. And Eric Andre showed up in the beginning too, which I thought was just fun because I like Eric Andre. But yeah, I think I've covered everything I've wanted to say about it. Again, I watched it a while ago and the review is late, but it was just a mixed bag. It really was a mixed bag. I was hoping for more, but I wasn't entirely disappointed either. Again, there are good things that I liked about the show. I just wish it was better. But guys, have you seen Ironheart? If so, what did you think about it? Please let us know in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.